NLMB, Mad Max, happens to be one of the closest pals to G Herbo, and the rapper often shouts him out in his songs. He mentioned Max's name in his song titled What You Get. The relationship doesn't just end there anyways. Max happens to be No Limit's most respected shooter who had a wild reputation in the streets. Mad Max grew up on the violent east side of Chicago and was mainly raised by his mother after his father was killed when he was only 12 years of age. Just like most black communities, Max quickly had to adapt to his environment as well as the absence of his father. Max was affiliated to the No Limit Gang, a renegade faction of the Almighty Black Peace Stones. The No Limit's crew joined forces with the Muskegon Boys, a renegade faction of the Gangsta Disciples, to form NLMB. This new pact was phrased, "Never leave my brother." Mad Max wasn't the only member of his family known to belong to the NLMB. He was said to have multiple brothers, uncles, and cousins who themselves happened to be well-respected members of the gang. Mad Max grew up with G Herbo and Lil Bibby, who were popular rappers repping the gang. The NLMB are known to beef with almost every other gang on the east side, but not only that, they're known to have large numbers of crew with more structure than most of the other gangs in Chicago. They also seem to have more OGs around to guide the younger generation. Just like there's no gang without an op, the NLMB's most prominent enemies are the Lakeside, KTS, Black Mobs. The Black Mob and the Lakeside are allies and often beef with the NLMB. The KTS, on the other hand, is an alliance between a couple of other gangs, including members of Lakeside and Black Mob. Rappers KTS, Dre, and Von were members of the KTS gang. Mad Max was one of NLMB's most active members, which made him an obvious target for ops, but despite having a couple of other relatives in the gang who taught him how to move on the streets, Max got out of control and ultimately led to his death. At the time that Max was coming up in the gang, NLMB was locked in a heated war with the Black Mob gang, with the war starting over territorial control. In 2009, a lad from the NLMB named Vito was trapped in the Black Mob's territory without checking in or paying taxes required by the gang. This led to a member of the Black Mob violating Vito for not showing them proper respect. It was alleged that the leader of the NLMB at the time told Vito to get payback for the violation. Vito ended up shooting at the dude who violated him right in front of his family, which was a major violation of their codes. I guess all is fair in love and war, but this incident only escalated the heat between the gangs, which also resulted in Vito getting killed. But just like every other gang war, Vito's death started a wave of retaliatory shootings between the NLMB and the Black Mobs. Another member of the Black Mob in Lakeside named Dale was soon murdered while walking down the street in South Mainstay Avenue. Though it was not clear who was responsible for Dale's death, it was however rumored that Mad Max was involved in his shooting. This would later be the first in a long series of shootings and murders that Mad Max allegedly committed. In 2010, Max was locked up for an alleged shooting, but there wasn't much public information at the time as he was still a minor. But he was soon back on the streets again seeking for a pound of flesh from his ops. Over the next couple of months, he lost several of his OGs, including his blood uncle. In November 2011, White Folk, who happened to be one of the leaders of the gang, was killed. He was shot and killed by members of the Lakeside. White Folk's death was said to have shocked the NLMB crew because most of them looked up to him, including Mad Max. A few months down the line, there was also another shooting involving a group of NLMB members, which left 2 of them dead and several others injured. They were reportedly standing on a corner outside a liquor store when someone drove by and started shooting at them with a Tech-9. 5 members of the group got hit, leaving 2 dead. NLMB, Rock, and Alamo were the 2 members that lost their lives in the shooting. The shooting was rumored to have been carried out by members of the KTS. Mad Max was very close to NLMB Rock, so his death hit him hard. A few months down the line in October 2012, another member of the NLMB named Big Los was also murdered around the South Escabana Avenue. Big Los wasn't just a regular OG, he was his blood uncle. His death definitely hit Max the hardest and turned him to a savage as soon as he was out for blood and nothing less. Around noon on November 10, 2012, Anthony Bagsby, aka Bud from Lakeside, was walking down the street when he was approached by some other dudes and shot several times. He was rushed to a local hospital but was later pronounced dead. No one was arrested for Bud's murder, but it was rumored to have been committed by members of NLMB, including Mad Max. This was, however, not surprising after it was heard on the streets that Bud was present for the murder of Big Los, who was Max's uncle. One thing I've noticed about these gang wars is how they tend to figure out who was there and who was involved in hits on their camp even before the police do, so maybe the streets have ears then. Mad Max didn't stop there anyways. He kept seeking revenge for all the people close to him that had been murdered. Just like the streets would say, he would slide for his crew. On April 4, 2013, another Lakeside member named D'Angelo Simmons, aka Lolo, was gunned down while walking home. Lolo was shot in the chest and rushed to a local hospital where he was pronounced dead later that day. Lolo was said to be walking home with another man while he was attacked. Police never identified the man who was with Lolo when he was killed, but it was rumored that it was another member of Lakeside named Mac Main who witnessed the attack. In fact, Main was allegedly one of the dudes who were in the car that opened fire at members of NLMB the day Rock and Alamo got killed. You see, what I said about these streets having ears. Word on the streets after Lolo's killing was that it was Mad Max who shot him while Mac Main managed to peel off. G Herbo was also supposedly with Max when it happened and chased after Main, shooting him in the leg. This, however, was unconfirmed. Both Bud and Lolo were respected members of Lakeside, and just as expected, members of NLMB soon started using the deaths to mock their ops, talking about smoking on Bud and Lolo in songs and social media banters. But wait a second, what's up with dudes and self-snitching? It's hard to understand. You supposedly committed a crime and you go about bragging about it in songs. This act further heightened the heat between the gangs anyways. The summer of 2013 was a wild time in the war because around that time, NLMB lost two of their members, Simo and Tracy. NLMB, however, were quick to get their revenge. In June of that same year, NLMB took another major hit after losing a well-loved and respected member of the gang named Kobe. Jacoby Heron, aka Kobe, was shot and killed outside of a McDonald's in South Oglesby Avenue. Kobe was also close to G Herbo, who has even talked about him in interviews and even named a mixtape after him called Ballin' Like I'm Kobe. Shortly after Kobe got killed, there were rumors that it was KTS Vaughn and another dude named Pasto who were responsible for the hit on Kobe. After word got out, NLMB were out to get KTS Vaughn and Pasto, but before they could get their revenge, Mad Max swiftly took out a member of Black Mob for the second time that year. On August 13, 2013, a 34-year-old known member of the Black Mob named Eric Chisholm was killed by a shooter. Just like most of the shootings, no one was arrested for his murder, but Mad Max was fingered to have been involved in the shooting. NLMB didn't forget about Kobe's killing and finally got their revenge before the end of that year as they finally got Pasto. On November 23, 2013, Pasto was shot in the head just around the corner from where he lived. It was rumored that Crazy James and Mad Max, both from NLMB, were responsible for the hit. Pasto, who was well loved within the KTS, soon became a subject of dissing in songs and social media banters. Max got arrested several times over the next couple of months, which slowed down his activities on the streets. On June 23, 2015, another known op of the NLMB named KTS Vaughn was shot and killed. Vaughn was one of KTS's most active members, which made him a target of most of their rivals. His killing brought up different theories, one of which was that members of the NLMB, including Mad Max, were responsible for his shooting. How true is that information? We wouldn't know, but one thing we know is that KTS Vaughn often referred to himself as Big Cutthroat, the Smoker. Just after he was killed, Mad Max started calling himself the Smoker on Instagram. This made many believe he was taking credit for the hit. It wasn't, however, sure if that was the true situation or he was just trying to get at his ops. Mad Max also faced a series of legal problems in 2016, but soon after all those were solved, he was soon back to his old self the following year. In 2017, July 10th to be precise, Black Mob lost one of its top shooters and their famous rapper, Shooter Shells. Just about 3 months before his death, he had dropped a savage diss track titled Death of 150, where he took shots at several dead members of NLMB, including dudes like Rock, Kobe, and Fazio. Shooter Shells was a known stepper and claims to have several bodies at the time of his death. However, releasing that diss song made him a target for NLMB. Shooter Shells was reportedly shot about 18 times according to police reports until he was unrecognizable. Police also said they recovered as many as 43 shells at the scene. Even before his death, the FBI had opened an investigation into the violence between Black Mob and the NLMB. After the killing of Shooter Shells, the FBI soon determined that it was likely connected to the beef and the diss track he dropped. No one was ever arrested, but it's been rumored that Mad Max was one of those involved in the shooting. Years after Shooter Shells was killed, a police report identified Max as one of the primary suspects in the murder. But just as you can guess, before the police could arrest him, the streets got to him first. On August 3, 2013, Mad Max was said to be moving into a building in the South Kingston Avenue. While outside, he allegedly spotted some mobs from the Lakeside gang and quickly ran towards the building to escape. He, however, didn't get away and was chased and shot twice. He was found and rushed to the hospital in critical condition. It's unfortunate because by the time he was found, he might have lost lots of blood. It first appeared like he was going to make it, as he kept alive for an entire month. But on September 3, 2018, exactly a month after the shooting, he died from his injuries. Happenings after his death have, however, made ops in the streets call him a rat and a snitch. So here's what happened. A few days after his shooting, police arrested a member of Lakeside named Terrell Well, aka Hell Rell. There were rumors that police questioned Mad Max while he was on the hospital bed, where they reportedly convinced him to provide a videotape statement identifying Hell Rell as the shooter. The videotape statement was never used in court, and Hell Rell was later released due to lack of evidence. The rumors of him snitching has, however, tarnished his image in the streets, as ops claim he put in all that work, and now it means nothing because he snitched. Whatever angle you're looking at it from, his NLMB crew still got lots of respect for him anyways. Mad Max could be regarded as a street legend in his own way, but I see him just as another gangster who didn't know when to stop. He was always ready to continue dropping ops until the authorities either arrested him or shot him dead. For the ops who claimed he was a rat, but how many would have been on their deathbed with their killer still roaming free out there and rejecting the chance to giving out information on how to catch him? Opinions surely differ, but I believe Mad Max made himself too much of a target, and it was only a matter of time before it came back to haunt him. Hey you like the video? Great, we've got another one for you that we guarantee you'll like, and all you have to do is click on the screen. It's free and without any hidden fees, but you have to click on it fast because this message is self-destruct in 5 seconds.